Seniors, stop paying these 5 bills before it's too late. If you're living on Social Security, what I'm about to reveal could help protect your monthly income and prevent costly financial mistakes that thousands of retirees are making right now. Stay with me until the end, because Bill #1 is catching the most seniors by surprise, and it could be draining your budget every single month. And if you depend on Social Security benefits or retirement income, make sure to subscribe right now. This channel is dedicated to American seniors, bringing you the latest Social Security payment updates, retirement news, pension concerns, cost of living changes, and important alerts that could affect your money and your future. Don't miss today's critical information. Let me ask you something, and I want you to really think about this before you answer. When was the last time you sat down, looked at your bank statement, and actually questioned every single charge on that page? Not just glanced at it, not just made sure your Social Security check cleared, but truly, deeply questioned every dollar leaving your account every single month? Because if you're like most seniors I talk to, the honest answer is probably never. And that right there is costing you hundreds, maybe thousands of dollars a year. Money that should be in your pocket. Money you worked your entire life to earn. Money that is quietly, invisibly, sneaking out of your account every single month while you go about your day completely unaware. And today, that stops. I'm going to walk you through 5 bills that millions of seniors across this country are paying right now that they absolutely do not have to pay. Some of these you've probably never even thought to question. Some of them you might have assumed were mandatory, like taxes, like gravity, like something you just had to accept as part of life. But they're not. They're optional, they're negotiable, they're sometimes flat out unnecessary. And once I show you exactly what they are and exactly how to stop paying them, you're going to wonder why nobody ever told you this sooner. So, stay with me, because this is genuinely one of the most important financial conversations you can have right now. And please, pass this along to every senior you know, every parent, every grandparent, every neighbor who deserves to hold on to more of their own money. Let's start with something that almost every single person over 65 is paying without realizing there's a better option sitting right in front of them. We're talking about traditional Medicare supplement plans, specifically the sky-high premiums that come along with them. Now, before you click away, I know what you're thinking. You're thinking, I need my health coverage. I can't just stop paying for that. And you're absolutely right. This is not about dropping your health insurance. This is about making sure you're not drastically overpaying for coverage that you could be getting at a significantly lower cost or even at no additional premium whatsoever. Here's the truth that insurance companies don't exactly rush to advertise. Millions of seniors qualify for Medicare Advantage plans that cover everything their current plan covers, and in many cases more, for $0 a month in premiums. Zero! And beyond that, there's something called the Medicare Savings Program. And there's extra help for prescription drug costs. And there are low-income subsidy programs that can wipe out your Part B premiums, your Part D costs, your co-pays, and your deductibles entirely. The income thresholds for these programs are higher than most people think. You don't have to be living in poverty to qualify. You just have to know to ask. The problem is that most seniors never ask because nobody told them these programs exist. Well, now you know. Call 1-800-MEDICARE. Talk to your state health insurance assistance program. They go by SHIP. And have someone sit down with you for free and review exactly what you qualify for. Because if you're paying $300, $400, $500 a month for supplemental coverage when a better fitted plan could cost you dramatically less or nothing, that's money you are simply giving away. Now let's talk about something a little more surprising. And I promise you, this one is going to hit close to home for a lot of people watching this. Life insurance. Specifically, the life insurance policy you've been faithfully paying on for 20, 30, maybe even 40 years. Now, life insurance served an incredibly important purpose when you were younger, when you had kids depending on you, when you had a mortgage, when your spouse was relying on your income. It made perfect sense. But here's the question you need to honestly ask yourself right now. Who are you still protecting? If your children are grown adults with their own careers and their own families, if your mortgage is paid off or close to it, if your financial obligations have fundamentally changed since you first took out that policy, then you may be paying hundreds of dollars every single month to maintain coverage that no longer fits your life. And here's the part that really gets people when they hear it for the first time. That policy you've been paying into for decades, it may have real cash value right now. Depending on the type of policy you have, you may be able to surrender it for a lump sum of cash. You may be able to do what's called a life settlement, where you sell the policy to a third-party company for more than its cash surrender value. Some people have walked away with tens of thousands of dollars from policies they were about to just let lapse. Others have converted their policy into a long-term care benefit, which means instead of dying with your life insurance, you use it while you're alive to pay for the care you might eventually need. This is not a niche strategy for wealthy people. This is something any senior with a whole life, universal life, or term policy with significant face value should be exploring right now. Talk to an independent financial advisor, not the agent who sold you the policy, because they have a conflict of interest, and find out exactly what options are available to you. All right, let's keep going, because we are just getting warmed up. The third bill on this list is one that genuinely makes me frustrated every time I think about it, because it's a bill that exists almost entirely due to inertia. Due to the simple human tendency to keep paying for something month after month, just because we've always paid for it, just because we never stopped to ask whether we still needed it. I'm talking about subscription services and auto renewals. And I know, you might be thinking, I barely have any subscriptions, this isn't really about me. But let me tell you something, the data on this is shocking. The average American household is paying for 3 to 4 subscriptions they either forgot about completely or no longer use. And for seniors, this problem is often even more significant because many of these charges were set up years ago, sometimes by adult children helping with accounts, sometimes during free trials that silently converted into paid plans. We're talking about streaming services you haven't opened in months, music apps you never really figured out, cloud storage plans you don't need, newspaper and magazine subscriptions you don't read, antivirus software that auto-renewed at full price, even though your computer came with a free version, warranty extension plans on appliances that have already died, roadside assistance you're paying for through 3 different places at once. Pull out your last 3 months of bank and credit card statements. Highlight every recurring charge. Then go through each one and ask yourself honestly, did I use this in the last 30 days? If the answer is no, cancel it today. Don't wait, don't say you'll get around to it, do it today. Because that money adds up to hundreds of dollars a year. And there is not a single subscription service out there worth paying for if you're not using it. The fourth bill is the one that might actually make you a little bit angry when you hear it. Because this one has been sold to seniors as something they absolutely must have, something that protects them, something that gives them peace of mind. And while there's a version of it that makes sense, the version most people are actually paying for is dramatically overpriced and frequently unnecessary. I'm talking about landline telephone service and bundled cable packages. Now, I want to be sensitive here, because I understand that for some seniors, particularly those who live alone or in areas with spotty cell coverage, a landline genuinely does serve an important safety and communication purpose. I'm not dismissing that. What I am saying is this. If you are paying for a full cable bundle with hundreds of channels you don't watch, combined with a landline with long-distance service and features you never use, and you're doing this through a package deal that costs you anywhere from $80 to $200 a month, there are alternatives that can give you everything you actually need for a fraction of that cost. Internet-based phone services can cost as little as $10 a month and give you all the features of a traditional landline. Seniors who qualify for Lifeline, and there are millions who qualify and have never applied, can get their home phone or cell phone service for free, or nearly free, courtesy of a federal assistance program that has existed for years. And when it comes to cable, the streaming world has fundamentally changed what's available and at what price. You don't need 400 channels, you need the 20 you actually watch. And there's a combination of free, low-cost streaming services and digital antennas that can give you local news, your favorite shows, and everything in between for a tiny fraction of what you're probably paying right now to a cable company that raises your rates every single year without warning. We've covered 4 now, and I want to save the 5th for last because in my opinion, it's the most important. It's the most overlooked. And it's the one that ties every single thing we've talked about today together in a way that could genuinely transform your financial situation going forward. The 5th bill that seniors need to stop overpaying, and in many cases stop paying altogether, is bank fees. And I don't just mean the obvious ones. I mean the full, invisible landscape of fees that quietly drain money from your accounts every single month. Monthly maintenance fees, minimum balance fees, overdraft fees, out-of-network ATM fees, paper statement fees, wire transfer fees, account inactivity fees. And here's the thing that most banks are counting on. They're counting on the fact that you've been with them for 30 years, that it feels like too much of a hassle to switch, that the idea of setting up a new account and changing all your direct deposits feels overwhelming. And so you stay, and you keep paying fees, and they keep counting that money. But here is what every senior in this country needs to know. There are banks, real, legitimate, federally insured banks and credit unions that charge none of these fees. 0. Free checking accounts, free savings accounts, free ATM access, no minimum balances, no monthly maintenance fees. Free paper statements if you want them. Many credit unions in particular are structured specifically to serve their members rather than generate profits, and their fee structures reflect that. Community banks often offer senior-specific accounts with additional benefits built in. And if you are currently paying a monthly maintenance fee at a big national bank, call them right now, not tomorrow, right now, and ask them to waive it or switch you to a fee-free account. Many banks will do this simply because you asked. Because keeping you as a customer costs them less than acquiring a new one. And they know it. You have more leverage than you think. Use it. Here's what I want you to take away from everything we've talked about today. And I want you to hear this not just as financial advice, but as something more fundamental than that. The bills we covered today, the overpriced health coverage, the life insurance you may no longer need, the forgotten subscriptions, the bloated phone and cable bundle, the bank fees draining your accounts, none of them exist because you made bad decisions. They exist because systems were built to quietly extract money from people who weren't given clear information about their alternatives. They exist because companies rely on your inertia, your trust, and your assumption that if you've always paid something, you probably have to keep paying it. And that assumption is costing you. For the average senior, addressing these 5 areas can free up anywhere from $200 to $800 every single month. Think about what that money means. Think about the prescription you've been skipping because of the copay. Think about the grandkid's birthday you wanted to do something special for. Think about the trip you put off, the home repair you've been worried about, The emergency fund that would finally let you sleep at night without that low-grade financial anxiety that so many seniors carry quietly and alone. You deserve better than that. You earned better than that. And the first step, the only step you need to take right now, is simply to decide that you are going to look, you're going to pull out those statements. You're going to make those phone calls. You're going to sit down with a non-profit housing counselor or a SHIP advisor or a credit union representative or whatever free resource applies to your situation, and you're going to ask the questions you've never asked before. Because those questions have answers. Good answers. Answers that put money back in your pocket where it belongs. Before you go, I want to share one more thing with you, because this is something that comes up every time I talk about these topics, and it's important. A lot of seniors feel embarrassed asking for help with financial programs. They feel like seeking assistance is somehow a sign of failure, like they should have figured all of this out on their own, like accepting a benefit they qualify for is the same as asking for charity. And I want to address that head on, because nothing could be further from the truth. Every program we discussed today, the Medicare savings programs, the Lifeline phone assistance, the senior banking accounts, these exist because society made a collective decision through taxes and policy that people who spent their lives contributing deserve support in their later years. Accessing these programs isn't charity. It's not a handout. It is you reclaiming what you have already paid into and what you have already earned. There is no shame in it. There is only wisdom. And the wisest thing you can do right now is share this with someone you love who needs to hear it. Send this to your children. Send it to your friends. Put it in your senior center's newsletter. Share it in your church group. Because the person who needs this information most is probably someone who would never search for it on their own. Someone who is quietly paying these bills month after month, year after year, assuming that's just the way things are. It doesn't have to be. Knowledge is the only thing standing between where you are financially right now and where you could be. And you just got a lot of it. Use it, and we'll see you in the next one.